Hello, good evening. Today, the 11th of August 2023. To present Camnet Television News, I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Our top stories in the news tonight: police arrest 4 Zimbabwean criminals in connection with theft from motor vehicles. Opposition leader Fred Membe sues the Inspector General of Police for defamation. 11 Japanese companies visit Zambia to explore investment opportunities. In international news, former South African President Jacob Zuma released on remission after quick prison stop. And in sports news, FAZ suspends BUILDCON FC due to statutes breaches.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
The news in detail. Police in Lusaka have arrested 4 Zimbabwean nationals for being involved in a spate of theft from motor vehicles in Lusaka. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga says the 4 criminals are alleged to have been behind the theft of 36,000 kwacha from the vehicle of Zambezi East Member of Parliament, Brian Kambita, and over 500,000 kwacha stolen from a Chinese national at Kabulonga Mall in Lusaka. Mr. Hamonga says the anti-robbery squad received intelligence information from a reliable source on the 9th of August 2023 that someone who disembarked from a silver Toyota Mark X had deflated a tire for a white Toyota Auris parked at Stanbic Bank near Family 24. Mr. Hamonga says when the officers got on the scene, the Mark X was not at the scene, but that after several hours of searching, a Toyota Mark X was spotted, which prompted the officers to check the car, where they found various break-in equipment. More in this report.
Zambia has in the past witnessed an increase in theft from motor vehicles, which has resulted in some members of the public losing valuable items, among them money and gadgets. The latest of such incidences was the theft of over 500,000 kwacha from a Chinese national at Kabulonga Mall in Lusaka, and a theft of 36,000 kwacha from a motor vehicle belonging to Zambezi East Member of Parliament Brian Kambita at Manda Hill Mall in Lusaka last month. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has since reported that 4 Zimbabwean nationals have since been arrested in connection with the above-mentioned robberies, among other cases.
So these male persons, actually, the 4 male persons who have been identified as Medudzi Moyo, they are also Pelili Komo, Onifias Ndebele, and Edwin Moyo, all as Zimbabwean nationals coming all the way from Bulawayo. So information that we have obtained from them so far is that they have confessed to have been involved in a spate of thefts from motor vehicles, and the notable ones is that one involving Honorable Brian Kambita, Member of Parliament for Zambezi East, which occurred on the 8th of August, around 10:30 hours at Manda Hill, where they stole 36,000 kwacha from the complainant's vehicle. Besides, also, they have also confessed to have stolen from several Chinese nationals and Zambians. For those of you that may remember that case involving a Chinese national who had his money stolen, these actually have confessed that they were the ones.
Additionally, the police spokesperson has challenged car owners to avoid locking their cars using remote keys, which he says the criminals have been using to take advantage.
Members of the public, when you want to lock your car remotely, they will use these things to jam your locking system. So please, just avoid to use those remote controls, or if you're going to use it, be sure that you physically check the vehicle that it is locked. Because with this, you can be moving around and going away from motor vehicle, think that you have locked the motor vehicle and you haven't locked the motor vehicle.
Mr. Hamonga has also reported that the 4 Zimbabwean criminals have been renting a house in Chamba Valley, Minwood in Lusaka, and has challenged landlords to probe tenants, especially foreign nationals, when they intend to rent their houses.
These criminals were even renting a house Okay? Now, if somebody is coming to rent a house here in Zambia and a friend, what is the subsistence of living? Let's interrogate them. Because if you don't just leave people coming to your residence, they are renting a house, you don't know their sources of income. Maybe they would even, you go into town to withdraw money, they will steal the same money that you have withdrawn and then come and pay you as rental.
Various items have also been recovered from the criminals, including this Toyota Mark X, which was being used to commit crime. Mr. Hamonga has since sent a strong warning to would-be offenders to be on the lookout, as men and women in uniform are ready to pounce on them to ensure that criminal elements are eliminated from the communities. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
Some residents in Lusaka's Garden Chilulu area have called on the contractor working on the Makishi Road to quickly finish up the works. One of the residents, Enoch Lungu, tells Camnet News that the delay to finish up the rehabilitation of the road has negatively affected their businesses. Mr. Lungu says the contractor has a habit of being on site for only an hour, which has delayed the completion of works. Meanwhile, Area Councillor Adrian Banda says the contractor is waiting for the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company to rectify a sewer service line which burst during the construction of the road. Here's a report.
All year round, roads in many parts of the country are regarded as the support of commerce. They act as a conduit of active markets and set the pace of business as traders transport their merchandise and various visions from one doorstep to the other. While the influence of roads springs beyond mere ease, Lusaka's Garden Chilulu residents in Mandevu constituency have called on the contractor working on the Makishi Road to speed up the works. One of the residents, who operates a furniture business, explains that for the past 3 months, business has been affected due to the construction of the road, which is at a slow pace. The residents also allege that the contractor is merely on site for more than an hour for reasons unknown to them. They are pleading with the authorities to ensure the road is worked on for them to continue with their businesses.
Business yatwabwera kumbuyo. Mongangani kumbuyo huku parapita almost 10 days kubiva ntenze kuchita. Maona. So tunawauza stand on fast. Sometimes ero futi ku lunch wakaenda 10 hours, 11 hours, abora 16 hours. Ono mundu banti jesera bana. Munga last time arabo ativarira kunalibe kwani vantinga chita. So tenzo goesa kuti tsakira ku shop kuti tingazi kuti tisbalance ku vinapa vavuta.
Road amene kaya vanavala road. Kulipe moyo tinga balance mulimo. Sitiyembekeza che road isiyo. At this road ikasira ma business asekuka.
Tingareko mushi. Cause it was some pressure. It was some pressure. Lord ikasira nasi ma grant zopeseka na enzo. Mairo disisira, mairo sapeseka na poenya ma grant. Good everyone se betsa pesa.
But for Alex Siluisia, the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company and Lusaka City Council should provide a solution to a sewer service line which was damaged due to the construction of the road, as it is becoming a health hazard to others.
Nani papa vanani avalodi vanapwanya drainage nani steni siwa so yankala almost 1 month is vakanso vabwera vacheckinga vaenda panoma ni 1 month ichi sivachita sivakubwera ukonza manje uko manzi aende uko vamamwa kunani kungweleli uko na vana vasamboko vawashiramu na washiramu.
Meanwhile, Area Councillor Adrian Banda says he's waiting for Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company to correct a sewer service line which was damaged during the construction.
As we appreciate, yes, we had some complaints from the community to say there is where water, Lusaka Water and the Sanitation Company, which they need to fix something. That's when they will come back to continue the same. But the contractor is on site and they're doing their work. The further far after where there's a damage of some lines of Lusaka Water. So after this, the companies worked on the same. That's when now the contractor will come and do the needful for the development of the road, which is upgraded to Bitmark standard. So my appeal to the general public and the community at large is development is a process.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Some street vendors in Lusaka's central business district have started going back to trade on the streets barely a month after being removed from the CBD. A check by Camnet TV News found a considerable number of traders conducting their businesses despite their colleagues being apprehended on Thursday by the police. And those spoken to have accused the Lusaka City Council of not providing an alternative solution, as markets cannot accommodate everyone. More in this report.
Barely a month after they are forced from the streets of Lusaka's central business district, these vendors have started settling well back onto the streets. A random check by Camnet TV news crew spotted a number of them doing their usual businesses, from mobile man operations to those selling different merchandise and foodstuffs were seen on the streets. This is despite the fact that on Thursday the Lusaka City Council apprehended 7 of them who tried to settle along Freedom Way and Chachacha roads.
We arrested 7 yesterday for illegally trading on the streets. So they were caught along Freedom Way and Chachacha Road. So these people appeared yesterday before the fast track court, and the trial continues. We haven't charged them yet. So if one is charged, like I said in the statement, if one is charged, is liable for imprisonment of not less than 3 months with the hard labor.
However, those spoken to called on the Lusaka City Council to find an alternative and lasting solution to this problem.
Those that are coming back, I think let the law come through for them, because it is for our own good as a city, it is our own good as citizens. I mean, when they mean to clean the city, it starts with us. So if someone is aiming at bringing sanity to the city and people seem not to be, in support of it, then I don't know what we want. Because at the end of it all, we want a better city to live in for all of us.
The markets are fully packed, and those people, they have nowhere to go. And those are business people. So I think for me, with my idea, I think it's better that they are back.
Vincent Piri for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Buses and Taxi Drivers Association of Zambia has urged government through the Road Transport and Safety Agency, RATSA, to put in place a sustainable mechanism that will ensure that bus drivers are not contravening the law when loading people. Association National Secretary Sidney Mbewe says the removal of contravening buses has improved revenue for drivers in bus stations, but fears the vice might resurface. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mbewe says RATSA needs to guard against any moves to return to the streets by drivers to maintain the sanity in the city. More in this report.
The July 18th joint operation between the Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA and the Lusaka City Council LCC saw the formally moved buses that were operating in undesignated areas. The exercise also included the impounding of documents as required, as prescribed by the Road Traffic Act No. 11 of 2022. About 3 weeks after the exercise, the Buses and Taxi Drivers Association of Zambia has hailed the move, claiming it has increased revenue for operators in legitimate stations. Association National Secretary Sidney Mbewe says more traffic is being channeled to bus stations.
Making the business within the bus stations to be more profitable. In us before, we saw that drivers were making at most 3 trips per day. We have seen that number going up to about 8 trips per day. So meaning that there was a clear distortion and disruption of the public transport operations within the CBD.
Mr. Mbewe has however warned of complacency, urging RATSA to put in place measures to prevent a relapse in the transport sector in Lusaka Central Business District, CBD.
Build up of those that are still daring the law enforcement agencies in their continued operations of illegal bus stations. Now, I would want them to put up post-management that is going to arrest, one, the individuals that are promoting the operation of these illegal bus stations, and then 2, to arrest any movement of anyone that's going to operate at those illegal bus stations. Because if we do not look at post-management very seriously, we're still going back to the same scenarios that we have done before.
With flashes of vendors returning to the streets, it is therefore hoped that RATSA will devise measures to ensure sanity continues to prevail in the public transport sector in Zambia's capital, Lusaka. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula.
The Advocacy for Child Justice has condemned in strongest terms the torture of a 4-year-old boy of Apollo Barracks in Lusaka by his stepmother. A video has gone viral where a young boy innocently revealed that a woman he referred to as his mother had used various weapons, including a knife and the handle of a mop, to inflict pain on him. Zambia Police Service spokesperson Ray Hamonga has confirmed the arrest of Langiwe Ngosa after an officer from the barrack reported the assault to the police, while a medical form has been issued to the abused child. More in this report.
Another sad story to narrate. A 4-year-old boy of Apollo Barracks in Lusaka has suffered torture at the hands of a woman he calls mother. In the video that has gone viral on social media platforms, the little boy innocently revealed that a woman he referred to as mommy used various weapons, including a knife and a hand of a mop, to inflict pain on him. This has saddened the Advocacy for Child Justice. Advocacy and Communications Officer David Likando has called for justice to prevail.
This act is in direct contempt of Section 175 of the Children's Code Act, which prohibits a person having parental responsibility from assault, ill treatment, or exposure to any form of suffering or injury. And such a one is liable for conviction. As Advocacy for Child Justice, we are keenly following this case and will ensure that justice prevails for this young boy. And not only for the boy, but also for would-be offenders who would actually be perpetrators of similar acts which involve physical abuse on a child.
Barely 2 years after the Zambia Air Force officer was jailed 6 years for torturing her 11-year-old niece, Langiwe Ngosa is yet to become another example to stepmothers should she be found guilty. Vincent Piri for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo has disclosed that there is a rising number of new HIV infections affecting young people aged between 15 and 35 years old. Speaking during the launch of the National HIV Counseling, Testing and Treatment Day, which falls on August 15th annually, Ms. Masebo is saddened that over 15,000 new HIV cases are recorded annually since 2022. And UNAIDS Country Director Dr. Tassis Barihuta has seen the need for various stakeholders not to leave the fight alone to the Ministry of Health. Here's a report.
As the clock ticks towards 2030, Zambia stands at a crossroad facing a formidable rival. A report by the Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, discloses that new infections of HIV in the country is on the rise among young people between the age of 15 and 35. Ms. Masebo, while pledging commitment to ending the infection by 2030, between 14,000 and 17,000 cases of HIV are recorded annually since 2022 among young people. The minister attributes the rise of HIV cases to inadequate uptake of preventive intervention, high-risk behaviors, and peer pressure, among others. Ms. Masebo, however, sees life in ensuring breastfeeding women know their HIV status, as 35% of the infections are among infants have been attributed to pregnant lactating women.
A rising number of new HIV infections among individuals aged 15 to 35 years, particularly affecting young girls and women. This trend reduces our potential to channel the socio-economic benefits of our productive age demographic. The agency to address this issue is highlighted by the fact that approximately 50% of new HIV infections occurred among adolescents and young people in 2022, accounting for an estimated 14,000 to 17,000 new infections annually.
UNAIDS is also concerned and calling for stakeholder engagement in HIV elimination by 2030.
Gender-based violence, which can also be used. So the comprehensive strategy
The law, which we also launched on Tuesday during the day, is a very important document. And to implement it, local authority is a key, but also other sectors, because the Ministry of Health can't work alone to tackle those issues. Here, as UN system, we've been working also with the Ministry of Health and National Health Council to see how we can use the cities. The cities are very key. We have a very, very good practice in Lusaka City.
Meanwhile, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary George Sinyangwe says the ministry endeavors to expand babies' identification with HIV.
And some of the things that we can do, most of the things have been mentioned by my colleagues. One is just giving information out, and two colleagues from the press can help us with that. The second one, which we've been doing, is to increase access to services. And some of the methodologies through which we can do that have been alluded to by the minister, like decentralization. But also there are many other things that we can do within decentralization in order to improve access to services.
Speaking at the launch of the National HIV Counseling Testing and Treatment Day under the theme Young People Make a Difference Test for HIV, Ms. Masebo disclosed that about 3,000 health workers will be recruited before December 2023. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
ZESCO board chairperson Vixen Nkube has denied allegations by an opposition leader suggesting that part of the power utility company has been privatized. Addressing journalists at a media briefing in Lusaka, Mr. Nkube says the utility company is only subcontracting firms to conduct construction works for a quicker turnaround. But Mr. Nkube has clarified that the power utility company is still 100% owned by Zambia and that the government has no intention to privatize the company. On Thursday, 10th August 2023, Economic Freedom Fighters EFF leader Kasonde Mwenda alleged that the construction section at ZESCO has been privatized and that some workers have lost their jobs.
Now, in this particular case, I heard a presentation about ZESCO being partly privatized. My first statement is just to assure you that there is no iota of truth in what has been said. Now, let me start off by explaining a fundamental principle of asset ownership. The test of an asset is in its ownership and not in the way you have constructed your asset. As an example, I want to build a house. I am not a builder. I engage people to build a house for me. That is my house. It does not belong to the builder. Now, what has happened at ZESCO is ERB, the Energy Regulation Board. We've just signed the KPIs, and they're very stringent on the turnaround time in which we must connect a customer between the time they pay and the time we give them supply. So, there are situations which require the erection of poles, pulling of cables. You're required to put transformers, and in certain station areas, you need to build a substation. Now, ZESCO management have decided that because of these stringent requirements, they are going to subcontract or outsource the construction of those issues of substations, transformers, cablings, and poles. That does not mean that the company that has been asked to do that work will own those assets. They are just going to build them for ZESCO.
Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has emphasized the importance of swiftly translating discussions and memorandums of understanding into practical actions that will generate employment opportunities, particularly for the youths and women in Zambia. Speaking when he hosted Japanese delegation led by Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry Nishimura Yasutoshi At State House Friday morning, President Hichilema says beyond critical minerals mining, Zambia can also significantly gain from Japan's expertise in agriculture, infrastructure, digital innovation, commerce and tourism, especially given that Japan is a mature tourism market. The president has reiterated Zambia's unwavering commitment to adding value to its resource endowment to maximize job creation for its citizens. Meanwhile, Japanese Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry Nishimura Yasutoshi says 11 Japanese companies are in the country to explore investment opportunities and that the companies will participate in a business roundtable with the government and the private sector.
The MOU will sign. We would like to move quickly towards maybe a general framework agreement, investment trade agreements, let's call it that, so that it encompasses various sectors. And when we want to explore a project, we don't have to sign another MOU. We just get onto the transaction because this broad MOU or arrangement understanding will cover those areas. That's the suggestion I would like to make. The second suggestion is that Your Excellency, and please pass this message to the Prime Minister, we are keen to work towards value addition. The materials that we have here, which Japan needs, other parts of the friendly global world need, because of your own requirements. We need to combine those with our own requirements. What is that? Is to value add here, to process here, with your technology, with your capital, with our resource endowment, with our friendship, we'll make it work.
Opposition Socialist Party leader Fred Membe, who was recently arrested and charged with criminal offences, has filed a defamation of character complaint against the Inspector General of Police, Raphael Musamba, before the Lusaka Magistrates Court. According to his complaint filed before the court, Dr. Membe claims that on the 8th of August 2023, the Inspector General of Police allegedly issued defamatory words against him during a press briefing. He has submitted that the words published at the said press briefing allegedly meant that he was instigating rebellion, anarchy and bringing a coup to the country, when in fact not. He has further submitted that the conduct by the Inspector General of Police is criminalized under Section 191 of the Penal Code. Dr. Membe has lamented that he is unable to lodge his complaint at the police station, considering that all officers are reporting and getting instructions from Mr. Musamba. This is Camnet Television Main News. We'll take our first commercial break. Join us for more news after the break.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana. Banga kubunkiri dad.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. The Center for Primary Care Research, CPCR, has emphasized that enacting the Tobacco Control Bill is an emergency situation that needs urgent interventions. In an interview, organization communications expert Paxina Piri says the recent statistics have indicated that more than 7,000 Zambians die each year due to tobacco consumption. Ms. Piri says the delay to enact the Tobacco Control Bill, whose aim, among others, is to ensure that the harm of tobacco on people's health is well regulated, is likely to cost the country massive amounts of resources in the future. Meanwhile, a public health policy advocate, Dr. Anita Kaluba, has appealed to government to ensure that the bill is tabled before Parliament at the next session. More in this report.
Zambia is currently facing a high burden of non-communicable diseases, with tobacco consumption being one of the leading causes. Statistics have indicated that more than 7,000 people die each year, and the government spends about 2.8 billion kwacha, which is 1.2% of the GDP, to treat tobacco-related diseases every year, while the tobacco industry only contributes 0.04% to the GDP. This is the more reason why the Ministry of Health and players in the tobacco sector are in the process of enacting the Tobacco Control Bill. However, the bill has seen some delayment. 2023 marks exactly 15 years since Zambia became a part to the World Health Organization's Framework Convention on Tobacco Control and made an undertaking to come up with a domestic comprehensive tobacco control law. The Center for Primary Care Research Friday held investigating reporting in tobacco control, while emphasizing that enacting the Tobacco Control Bill is an emergency.
We are demanding for an answer to why this bill has delayed, because the Minister of Health had promised us that she's going to make sure that this tobacco control bill gets to Parliament in the last session of Parliament. But now they are on recess and they're coming back on, I think, 6th September, and we haven't seen this bill in Parliament. And we're still asking why, because the more they delay this bill, the more people are dying. You know, the workshop we've been having, you saw the figures, the investment piece that was done in 2016, and we were saying over 7,000 people die. And so this is 2023. We don't know how many people have died. And so the longer they take, the more people die, you know. And I think we're saying we don't want any more deaths.
A public health policy advocate, Dr. Anita Kaluba, has added a voice.
The bill is enacted and we have actual legal backing against these measures that are highlighted in the framework for Convention for Tobacco Control, the country will save money, because currently Zambia loses about 2.8 billion kwacha in healthcare expenditure and the cost of tobacco on people's health. So once this is controlled, we'll be able to see that resources will be freed for other interventions that the healthcare system needs to give to people to keep them healthy.
If enacted, this piece of legislation will ensure that the harm of tobacco on people's health is well regulated. Furthermore, the bill is in fulfillment of the Ministry of Health obligation to protect the public from devastating health, social, economic, and environmental consequences of tobacco consumption and exposure to tobacco smoke. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Renowned political analyst Dr. Alex Ngoma says blind intervention by ECOWAS in Niger is likely to destabilize West Africa, as there are other countries on standby to defend the country. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Dr. Ngoma has since urged African citizens to reassess the relevance of African regional and continental bodies, as they may be supporting wrong things. He says ECOWAS should listen to the concerns of the people before going in with military intervention, as they risk supporting a wrong leader not wanted by the people. More in the following report.
Order the deployment of the ECOWAS standby force to restore constitutional order in the Republic of Niger.
President of Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS, Commission Omar Taure, Thursday reading out resolutions of the 15-member country bloc during its meeting in Abuja, Nigeria. The resolutions included continued peace negotiations and the activation and deployment, though without a timeline, of a regional standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger, among others. The move came after sanctions to the country and expiry of Sunday, August 6th deadline to restore ousted President Mohamed Bazoum came to an end. Reacting to the resolutions, Zambia's renowned political analyst Alex Ngoma has warned against what he terms a blind intervention in Niger. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Dr. Ngoma has called on ECOWAS to listen to the concerns and interests of Nigerians and desist from being used by foreign interests.
The regional bodies that usually tend to get involved in national affairs sometimes are very misplaced. They lack understanding of what exactly is going on.
Dr. Ngoma has since called on African citizens to critically examine the purpose of their regional blocs, as in some instances are quick to endorse issues without taking into account their voices.
The citizens in various countries all across Africa to reassess the value, the meaning, the contribution of these regional bodies, so that the bodies do not continue supporting wrong things in various countries. For instance, what the people of Niger have actually said very, very clear across the world is that they want a different way of governance, one that prioritizes the local people and their interests, as opposed to puppets that actually champion the cause of the Western countries. That is the message. And so if ECOWAS is to, go in and fight the regime that has come into place, it's like ECOWAS is actually going to be fighting against the people of Niger.
As the standoff continues, the African Union is yet to go on record giving its stance on Niger coup, but it has been requested by ECOWAS to endorse the resolutions of the bloc. For Camnet News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The Zambia Medical Association, ZMA, has predicted that new diseases will emerge in the future because of the human-animal conflict. Speaking ahead of the 59th Scientific Conference and Annual General Meeting, ZMA President Crispin Moyo observes that the closer human beings get to wildlife, the more the risk. Dr. Moyo says certain diseases that were confined to the forests are likely to attack human beings. He says it is for this reason that the scientific conference, whose theme is strengthening health systems by leveraging digital health to address emerging and existing health threats, will have 4 sub-themes which will speak to addressing emerging diseases.
But we also know that new diseases are going to emerge in the future because of human-animal conflict. The more we damage the environment, the more we compromise the environment, the closer we are coming between the animals and the human beings. Certain diseases that were only confined to forests and other remote places, because we are building our houses, we are moving closer to those animals. Chances are that some of those diseases will jump into human beings. And the issue of COVID is not different. We know that this is a disease that was endemic in animals, but now it has crossed into human beings and it has found a home and it's multiplying fast. It's also mutating, and we're running behind it with vaccines and other type of interventions to try and see how we can control. We need to address issues related to climate change and how they impact on service delivery. Because of COVID, we also know that a number of people did not have the chance to visit their health providers. So we have this theme number 4, which talks about antimicrobial resistance. Self-prescription or prescription with telemedicine can actually have far-reaching implications if it's not managed properly. Laboratory becomes very crucial to ensure that you know what you are treating and you know whether the drugs that you are giving are both efficacious and they're going to wait for that particular bag.
A consortium of civil society organizations says it has postponed its protest slated for tomorrow, Saturday, 12th August 2023, as the police are still processing the permit. Leader of the consortium, Samuel Banda, says the CSOs from Lusaka and the Copperbelt had applied for a permit to conduct a peaceful protest and march to State House and petition President Hakainde Hichilema on the need to revamp the mining sector. Mr. Banda says the consortium has since been engaged for a meeting on Monday next week together with the Office of the Town Clerk before proceeding with a planned peaceful protest. And Zambia for Unity, Peace and Development ZUPED President Ronnie Jerry says as negotiations are ongoing, stakeholders expect the government to strike a deal that will result in a win-win situation.
The Office of the Town Clerk, unfortunately, they have not yet processed our permit. However, we are having a meeting with them on Monday, and we are hopeful that they will approve and grant us a permit so that we can protest. Therefore, we wish to inform members of the consortium, the student movements, the church, the pastors, civil society organizations, and other members of the consortium that we shall protest on the 18th August 2023, which is next week, Friday.
Copperbelt is slowly turning into a white elephant. Over 20,000, job opportunities, direct and indirect, for Mopani and KCM, is being eluded by, the fact that we have we have not finalized, the resumption of these two mines. So we, as a consortium, we will not stop. We will continue pressuring government until they do the right.
A $30 million United States industrial and commercial park is said to be commissioned in Kabwe district of Central Province by Farmers Nest Group of Companies. Farmers Nest Group of Companies Chairman Matthew Mohan says the commercial park will have the biggest chicken processing plant to cater for the entire Central and Southern Africa, a 5-star hotel, tomato and mango juice processing factories, cold chain, a multi-million medical facility, and a shopping mall, among others. And Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua says government is pleased with such innovations by citizens. Nais has more in this report.
government is encouraging private sector participation in the growth of the economy. That is why a $30 million United States investment is set to be commissioned in Kabwe district of Central Province on October 5, 2023 by Farmers Nest Group of companies. Mr. Mohan further disclosed that the multi-million-dollar investment, which is set to be commissioned at the defunct Kifco factory, will house the first ever industrial and commercial park in Kabwe.
Industrial and commercial park will be the first ever industrial park, creating a concept which is for value addition for farming produce in the country. We want to turn tomato into tomato sauce, mango into mango pico, mango juice, mango jam, and turning all sorts of value addition in terms of crop production. We'll be setting up a 5-star hotel, an office park, a hospital, a mall, and an industrial park in that site. And we believe that this is going to create about 1,000 jobs in Central Province, which is about 800 general workers and 200 highly specialized workers because of the industrial park nature that we have.
Meanwhile, Raj Patel, the chairman for Kabwe Industrial and Commercial Park, KICP, says the commercial park will improve the lives of many Zambians as the company is set to create 1,000 direct jobs, of which 200 will be specialized workers.
To enhance market where product cannot go to waste, and also to make their livelihood better.
And Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua says government is pleased with such innovations by citizens.
As provincial administration, I want to say that we welcome the idea, the initiative, and we appreciate that it is our own initiative here in Kabwe and Central Province. As I've always indicated that as provincial administration, we are here to invite investments into the province. And we are here to support investments in the province. We help, we create the environment for the growth of that investment.
Clement Kachali reporting for NICE in Kabwe, Central Province.
This is Camnet Television News. We'll take our second and final break. Join us for international sports news after the break.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Every Monday to Thursday afternoon, join us for the Lunchtime Cafe. We get to bring to you emerging stories making the headlines, media news, and we remind you of what political leaders and governance actors said back in the days. In Forgotten Stories, we emphasize to you the importance of eating healthy foods and leading healthy lifestyles on the Nutrition Corner. Get the latest updates in sports and critical interviews. Because we value your contribution to national matters, we accord you an opportunity to share your perspectives during the viewers' reactions. The Camnet TV Lunchtime Cafe is an all-inclusive buffet. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
And now in international news, South Africa's former president Jacob Zuma was admitted to the East Court Correctional Center and released in less than 2 hours. The Correctional Services National Commissioner said Zuma's release was part of a remission program aiming to address prison overcrowding. As pressure from the opposition mounted Friday, the 11th of August 2023, authorities and correctional services defended their decision. Here's a roundup of international news for more.
South Africa's former president Jacob Zuma was admitted to the Estcourt Correctional Center and released in less than 2 hours. The Correctional Services National Commissioner said Zuma's release was part of a remission program aiming to address prison overcrowding. As pressure from the opposition mounted Friday, authorities and correctional services defended their decision.
And the law must take its course. So the law has taken its course with regards to the former President Zuma. The National Commissioner has taken a decision, and that decision was not interfered with, neither did we meddle with it.
The decision to return Zuma to prison followed a Supreme Court of Appeal judgment which upheld a court ruling that releasing Zuma from jail on medical parole in 2021 was unlawful and unconstitutional. Minister Lamola said the former leader immediately benefited from a remission of non-violent offenders approved by President Ramaphosa.
Myself nor the President did not interfere with the decision of the National Commissioner. We allowed the National Commissioner to seek legal opinions, to consult the parties, to read the representations without any interference.
Friday's twist continued the 2-year legal wrangle over Zuma's sentence. Whether the 81-year-old former president should return to jail or have his time under medical parole considered as time served is now up to the Corrections Department National Commissioner.
Russia's space agency successfully launches its lunar lander into orbit in a race to touch down on the south pole of the moon. But India had a head start when it launched its own mission last month.
There's a lot of competition, I guess, to see who can get back to the moon first. Japan obviously had a failed attempt earlier this year. Israel had a failed attempt a couple of years ago with their Bereshit lander. So really, it's kind of up in the air as to who's going to get there first and who's going to be successful, Russia or India.
Russia's mission was originally a joint project with the European Space Agency, but the agency broke ties with Moscow after it began its military mission in Ukraine last February. Since then, Russia's been collaborating with China, which is expanding its space ambitions.
Now the competition between China and the United States in lunar exploration is more visible. But you need to understand that studying the moon is not the goal. The goal is political competition between two superpowers and a number of other countries who also want to claim the title of space superpower. It's Russia, India, Japan.
No spacecraft has successfully landed on the south pole of the moon, known for its rocky terrain. But it's an area of interest because ice water is present there. Scientists say it could support a human settlement.
The main task is simply to land on the moon, to learn, to recover lost Soviet expertise, and to learn how the new generation of developers can perform this task.
Russia was the first country to send a man into space in 1961 and prides in its Soviet-era space legacy. Landing on the south pole of the moon would restore Russia's position at the forefront of space exploration.
And now in sports news, the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, has suspended National Division 1 side BUILDCON from the league due to multiple breaches of FAZ and FIFA statutes. FAZ General Secretary Ruben Kamanga says BUILDCON had, apart from multiple sanctions imposed on them, been deregistered from the FIFA registration system. Kamanga says the suspension comes following repeated breaches of FAZ and FIFA statutes around player transfer and remuneration. He says BUILDCON are serving a transfer ban from FIFA and are currently suspended from the registration system, which makes it impossible for them to fulfill their league and legal obligations. Kamanga says FAZ will advise in due course whether there will be a replacement for BUILDCON. He further says he is happy with preparations for the 2023-2024 season, although fulfillment of club licensing by members remained a source of worry. And still in sports news, the tournament favorites Japan's campaign at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup has come to an end after suffering a shock 2-1 defeat to Sweden on Friday. After eliminating the four-time world champions, the USA, on penalties last weekend, Blagout continued their fairy tale with a dazzling 2-0 victory against Japan. The Japanese may have set their sights on revenge following their elimination at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, when the Europeans eliminated their hosts on their way to a silver medal. The result may have come as a shock to many who fancied the Japanese side, which scored 17 goals in 4 games. To end Camnet television news, the top stories once again. Police arrest 4 Zimbabwean criminals in connection with theft from motor vehicles. Opposition leader Fred Membe sues the Inspector General of Police for defamation. 11 Japanese companies visit Zambia to explore investment opportunities. In international news, former South African President Jacob Zuma released on remission after quick prison stop. And in sports news, FAZ suspends BUILDCON FC due to statutes breaches. The Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of James 3 verse 5. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes a great boss. Consider what a great forest is set on fire. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. That brings us to the end of the news tonight. Thank you for watching Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.